Hi again. Here we are to continue the discussion of relative and absolute position. And what I'd like to look at in this video, or just start looking at, is the interaction between relative and absolute when they're used together. Okay? So, in the last example, we have this box and it's in the middle of the screen, right? We've used absolute position to put it there, right? It kind of stays in the middle, right? Okay, well, remember the box is a child of this red box. Okay, what if we make the red box taller? So right now it's a height of 300. Let's make it a height of 600. Okay, so I'll refresh the screen and you'll notice that did not change the position of the black box. Okay, so the black box still is ignoring the red one, even though it's a child of the red one. Okay, so just remember that, right? Okay, what if we did this though? Okay, what if the red box here was position absolute or position relative? Okay, so watch what happens if I make the red box position relative. Now the black one is in the middle of the red one, and even if I change the size of the screen, it doesn't change. Now if the red box changed sizes, then the black one would move and it would stay in the middle. So what this is telling us is that when an element is absolute position, but somewhere up the DOM, it runs into a relative position object. So, we started here at absolute. It looked up the DOM and it found that main, its parent, or one of its ancestors, was relative. At that point, the absolute position element uses the relative positioned ancestor as its frame of reference. Okay, so before we added relative position to main, the box looked all the way up the chain until it hit the body tag, and it used the body as the frame of reference because no one else was relative position. Now main is relative position, so what happens is it stops here. And when we set the left to 50% and the top to 50%, minus half the width and height, right? What it does is it measures from the left edge of the red box and the top edge of the red box. Okay? So that's really important because as you're moving things around on the screen, you want to set the frame of reference so one object can move itself, absolutely, but relative to another object. And without a frame of reference, then it's always going to be the upper left corner here, or the body tag, right? So it's always going to be the upper corner of the screen. And sometimes that's useful, but a lot of times it's more useful to be relative to another object on the screen, right? And I'll do another example of this where this will become even more, obvious. But that's the lesson there, right? Okay. Let me just say it again, right? So when an absolutely positioned object is looking for its frame of reference to determine, exactly where its left and top will be measured from, it looks up the DOM until it finds a relatively positioned object. And when it finds a relative positioned ancestor, so it has to be inside. If footer was relative position, it wouldn't have any effect on box, right? So it has to be an ancestor, right? So parent or further up the chain, right? Okay. And when it finds one of those, if that object is relative, then that becomes the frame of reference. Otherwise, it works its way all the way up to the body tag, and then the body tag, which takes up the whole screen, is the frame of reference. Okay. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope that gives you a deeper insight to relative and absolute position.